The night was quiet. The small town slept under the silver light of the moon. Only one person walked outside, far from the houses and streets. His name was Daniel. He was an ordinary human boy, 17 years old, with tired eyes and a restless mind. Daniel often liked to walk alone. He enjoyed the silence, but tonight the silence felt different, heavy, strange, as if the air itself was waiting for something to happen. He stopped under a tall tree and looked at the stars. The sky was full of them, brighter than usual. For a moment, he forgot his worries and just stared. He whispered to himself, if only something interesting could happen. Something real. Then, he felt it. Not a sound, not a sight, a feeling. Someone was watching him. His skin shivered. His heart began to beat faster. Slowly, he turned his head toward the dark woods. At first, there was nothing. Only shadows and the soft movement of leaves. But then, he saw it. A glow. Faint, but alive. Like a soft blue flame hiding behind the trees. Daniel froze. His mind raced. Was it a trick of light, a phone, a lantern, or something else? He took one step closer. The glow moved, not away, but toward him. The boy's breath caught in his throat. "Hello?" he called out, voice shaking. Silence. Then the glow grew brighter, and from the darkness, a figure appeared. It was a girl, but not a human girl. Her skin shimmered like crystal, faintly glowing in blue and silver. Her hair flowed like strands of light, soft and strange at the same time. Her eyes, large, shining, and not of this world, locked onto Daniel's. She looked young, but her presence carried something ancient, something powerful. Daniel's legs wanted to run. His mind screamed at him, "This is not real. This cannot be real." But his heart refused to move. The alien girl stopped only a few steps away. Her body trembled, as if she had been running for a long time. She looked weak, almost desperate. And then she spoke. Her voice was soft, almost breaking, but every word pressed deep into his soul. "If I bond with you, will you let me in?" Daniel blinked. He could not believe what he had just heard. "Well, what?" he whispered. The girl looked at him with pleading eyes. "Please, answer me. If I bond with you, will you let me in?" The night seemed to hold its breath. The wind stopped. The world around them went silent. Only Daniel and the alien girl remained in that moment. His mind exploded with questions. Who is she? What does bond mean? Why me? But he could not ask. His voice was gone. The alien girl took a slow step closer. Her glow touched his skin like warm sunlight. "I escaped, but I cannot survive alone. My people are looking for me. If they find me, I am finished. I need you. I need a human." Daniel's hands shook. Why me?" he finally managed to say. She lowered her eyes. Her voice broke into a whisper. "Because you are the only one who can hear me." The words sent a chill through his body. He wanted to believe this was a dream, a trick, but deep inside he knew it was real, too real. The fear, the hope in her voice, it was impossible to fake. The girl looked back into his eyes. For a second, Daniel felt something strange, not just her gaze, but her emotions. Pain, fear, hope, all entered his heart as if they were his own. He stumbled backward. What are you doing to me?" "I am not hurting you," she said quickly. "You feel me because I opened my heart. I cannot lie to you. I only ask. Please, if I bond with you, will you let me in?" Daniel's breathing grew heavy. His world had just changed in seconds. A normal night had become something impossible. His chest pounded with both fear and excitement. He looked at her, standing under the moonlight, glowing like a star fallen to earth. Her eyes begged him for a chance. He had no idea what bonding meant. He had no idea what danger was waiting. But one thing he knew, this was the moment his life would never be the same again. And as the night wrapped around them, one question burned in his mind. What happens if I say yes? The answer, he would soon learn, was far more than he could ever imagine. The silence between them stretched long, heavy, almost unbearable. Daniel's mind spun with confusion. His heart beat so loud he thought the alien girl might hear it. She stood only a few steps away, glowing softly in the moonlight, her strange eyes never leaving his face. Her words echoed again in his head. "If I bond with you, will you let me in?" Daniel opened his mouth, but no words came. He wanted to ask 100 questions, but his tongue felt locked. Finally, he forced himself to whisper, What does it mean? Bond? The alien girl tilted her head slightly as if searching for the right words. It means I share with you. My life, my thoughts, my power, my pain, everything. Without a bond, I will not survive. With a bond, I may live, but only if you let me in. Her voice was soft, yet each word felt heavy, like a stone placed inside Daniel's chest. Daniel took a step back. His instincts told him this was dangerous. This was not human. This was something far beyond him. But at the same time, he could not ignore the way her eyes looked at him, eyes filled with fear and hope. Why me? Daniel asked again, louder this time. The girl's glow dimmed for a moment, as if sadness passed through her body. Because you are the first one who can hear me. I called many. No one answered. But you heard my voice. Daniel's skin prickled. A memory flashed in his mind, walking alone in the quiet streets, wishing for something real, something different. Had his own wish brought this to him? The girl stepped closer, but slowly, carefully, as if afraid he might run. She raised a trembling hand, glowing faintly. If I bond with you, I will not be alone anymore. You will not be alone either, but you must choose. Daniel swallowed hard. He tried to laugh, but it came out weak. This is insane. You're not even human. I don't even know your name. The girl blinked, then said softly, My name does not exist in your language, but you may call me Lyra. Lyra, Daniel repeated. The sound felt strange but beautiful. She nodded. Yes, Lyra. And you are Daniel. Daniel froze. How do you know my name? Lyra lowered her hand. When I reached out, I touched a part of you, just enough to find you. I did not mean to harm, only to survive. Daniel's breath grew shallow. He should have been terrified. He should have run back home, slammed his door, and called for help. But he stayed. Something in Lyra's presence, something fragile, desperate, held him there. He looked at her carefully. What happens? If I say yes? Lyra's lips trembled. She stepped closer again, her glow brushing against his skin like warmth from a fire. If you say yes, our lives join. My strength becomes yours. My enemies become yours too. Daniel's chest tightened. Enemies? Her eyes flicked toward the dark forest. For a moment, her face changed. Fear, sharp and real, flashed across her glowing features. She leaned closer, whispering so softly it was almost a secret. They are already looking for me. Hunters. If they find me, I will die. If they find me with you, they will take you as well. The words stabbed Daniel's mind. He stepped back again, his heart racing. So if I help you, I'm in danger too? Lyra nodded slowly. Yes, but if you walk away now, I will not survive the night. They will catch me, and I will vanish. Forever. Daniel's hands shook. He felt trapped between two impossible doors. Say no and leave her to die, or say yes and risk everything. Lyra's voice cracked. I know this is unfair. I know I should not ask, but I have no choice. You are the only one who can hear me, Daniel. Elle looked at her again. This alien girl, Lyra, was unlike anything he had ever imagined. She was powerful yet fragile, strange yet almost human. He felt her fear pressing into him, almost as if it was his own. He took a deep breath. And if I say yes, what do you do? What happens in that moment? Lyra's glowing eyes softened. I place my hand on yours. I enter your mind. It will hurt for a heartbeat, but then we will be connected. Forever. My life tied with yours. My soul inside your soul. Daniel shivered. The idea was terrifying. Forever? Sharing his mind with someone not even human? But another thought struck him. What if this was the chance he had been waiting for? His quiet life, his endless nights of wishing for something different. Was this it? The answer to his silent prayer? Lyra watched him silently, waiting, trembling, her hope shining brighter than her glow. Daniel's throat tightened. He wanted to ask one last question, but his lips moved before he could stop them. Lyra, if I say yes, will you protect me? For the first time, a small smile touched her face. It was soft, fragile, but real. Yes, Daniel, I will protect you, with my life. The night grew colder, the shadows deeper. Somewhere in the distance, a faint echo rang out, a sound not from this world. Lyra's glow flickered in fear. They are coming, she whispered. You must decide, now. And in that heartbeat, Daniel knew his choice would change everything. The sound in the distance grew louder. It was not like footsteps or engines. It was sharper, heavier, like the humming of strange machines moving through the night. Daniel's breath quickened. His mind screamed at him to run, to hide, to forget this glowing girl standing before him. But his feet would not move. His eyes stayed locked on hers. Lyra's glow flickered again. Fear spread across her face, but her voice remained calm, almost pleading. You must choose, Daniel. Say yes, and we live together. Say no, and I face them alone. Her words pressed into him like weight on his chest. Daniel's heart thundered. Yet he thought of his quiet life, the long days, the lonely nights, the endless routine. Nothing ever changed. He had always wanted something different, something real, something bigger than himself. And now, that wish stood before him in the form of an alien girl with glowing skin and desperate eyes. But this was not a storybook choice. This was life or death. Forever, Daniel whispered. His throat was dry. If I say yes, it's forever? Lyra nodded once. Forever. I cannot unbind once it begins. Your life and mine will walk as one. Daniel swallowed hard. His stomach twisted. Forever. The word both terrified him and pulled him closer. The humming in the distance grew sharper, like claws scraping against the night air. Lyra looked over her shoulder, panic flashing in her gaze. She turned back quickly, reaching out a trembling hand. Daniel, please. If they find me unbound, I will vanish. My power will die. If they find me bound with you, at least we have a chance. He stared at her hand, glowing softly in the dark. It was beautiful, but it was also terrifying. Taking it meant stepping into a world he could not understand, a world of danger, of aliens, of promises he wasn't sure he could keep. But then he looked into her eyes. They weren't the eyes of a monster. They weren't the eyes of a trickster. They were the eyes of someone afraid, someone desperate, someone who trusted him with her life. And Daniel realized something. He couldn't walk away. His voice shook, but he forced the words out. Yes. Lyra's lips parted in shock, as if she hadn't believed he would actually agree. For a heartbeat, she stood frozen. Then slowly, her trembling hand reached for his. Give me your hand, she whispered. Daniel hesitated only a moment before extending his hand. Their fingers touched, and instantly a surge of energy shot through him. His breath caught, his knees nearby buckled. It was as if lightning entered his body, but it was not pain. It was heat, light, and something far deeper. He felt her emotions rushing into him. Fear, hope, loneliness, longing, all pouring into his heart like a flood. He gasped. Images flashed before his eyes, not his own memories, but hers. He saw a vast world with twin suns burning red and gold. He saw silver towers rising above glowing rivers. He saw Lyra as a child, surrounded by others like her, only to be cast aside when her glow dimmed differently from theirs. He saw her running, hiding, hunted, always hunted. And then, he saw himself, through her eyes, a boy walking under the stars, wishing for something real. She had felt that wish. She had answered it. The visions faded, and Daniel collapsed to his knees, his chest heaving. His hand still clung to hers. Lyra knelt beside him, her face glowing brighter than before. A tear, strange, glowing silver, slid down her cheek. It is done, she whispered. We are bound. Daniel tried to speak, but his voice cracked. Inside his mind, another voice answered, a voice that wasn't his. Do not be afraid. I am with you. His eyes widened. He hadn't spoken. The words came from inside, from her. He looked at Lyra, and she gave a small, trembling smile. Now you hear me without sound. We are one. Daniel's head spun. His thoughts felt doubled, layered, tangled with hers. He could feel her heartbeat, her fear, even her relief. He staggered back, gripping his chest. This is insane, he muttered. But Lyra shook her head softly. No, this is survival. Before Daniel could respond, the humming in the distance grew louder. Bright lights flashed between the trees. Shadows moved closer. Lyra's glow dimmed again. They're here. Daniel turned toward the sound. Fear gripped him, but something new stirred inside him too. Strength. His senses felt sharper. The night no longer felt empty. He could hear distant footsteps, the hum of machines, the faint crackle of energy weapons charging. What's happening to me? He whispered. Lyra's voice echoed in his mind. My strength is now your strength. My senses are yours. You will feel more than a human ever could. Daniel clenched his fists. His body still trembled, but inside him burned something new. power and courage mixed with fear. Lyra placed a glowing hand on his shoulder. "Stay close to me. Do not let them take me. If they capture us, everything ends." Daniel nodded, though his throat was dry. His mind screamed he wasn't ready, but his heart refused to back down. He had made his choice. He had said yes, and there was no turning back. The forest exploded with light as the first of the hunters stepped into view. The forest came alive with strange light. Blades of blue energy cut through the trees, casting shadows that danced across the ground. The humming grew into a roar as figures stepped forward, tall, armored, and nothing like humans. Daniel's eyes widened. There were 3 of them, maybe more hidden in the darkness. Their armor shimmered black and silver, their helmets glowing with red visors. In their hands, they carried weapons that hummed with deadly power. One of them spoke, the voice metallic and sharp. "Lyra, surrender. You cannot hide anymore." Daniel felt Lyra's hand grip his tighter. Her glow dimmed as if she was shrinking into herself. "Hunters," her voice whispered in his mind. "They found me faster than I hoped." The armored figure raised a weapon. "You know the law. Unbound ones must not exist. Come quietly and your suffering will be short." Daniel's heart pounded. Every instinct screamed at him to run, but Lyra didn't move. Her eyes shone with fear, but her voice in his mind was steady. "We cannot run forever. We stand." Daniel almost laughed. Stand? Against them? He was just a boy. He couldn't fight aliens with glowing weapons. But before he could argue, he felt it. Heat building in his chest, shing through his arms, his legs, his very bones. Lyra's voice pressed into his thoughts. "Do not fight it. Let it flow." The first hunter fired. A burst of blue energy shot toward them, crackling with light. Daniel flinched, throwing up his hands to shield himself. He expected pain, burning, death, but instead, the energy struck something in front of him and shattered into sparks. A barrier of shimmering light had appeared, curved like a shield, glowing the same color as Lyra's aura. Daniel staggered back, staring at his own hands. What was that?" Lyra's voice filled his mind, urgent and proud. "That is the bond. My strength is yours now. You can shape it, if you trust it." The hunters paused, murmuring in their strange language. One stepped forward, weapon raised again. Lyra squeezed his hand. "Daniel, they will not stop. Use what you feel. Protect us." Daniel shook his head. I don't know how." "You don't need to know. Just feel." Another blast fired. Daniel panicked, thrusting out his hand. The shield appeared again, larger this time, the energy sparking against it. The impact shook his arm, but he held it, teeth gritted, until the light faded. For the first time, the hunters hesitated. Daniel's chest heaved. He looked at Lyra, her glow flickering faintly. She was weakening. The bond was real, but it was draining her. He realized something terrifying. If she fell, so would he. The hunters advanced again. One raised a strange staff, energy swirling at its tip. Lyra's voice rang sharp in his head. "Now, Daniel, push back!" He didn't know what that meant, but his body seemed to know. Heat surged again, rushing to his palms. He thrust his hands forward, and a burst of glowing force exploded outward. The ground shook. Leaves scattered. The hunters staggered back, their armor sparking where the blast struck. Daniel gasped, falling to one knee. The power drained him, but it was real. He had done it. Lyra pulled him up, her eyes blazing with both fear and pride. "You see now. The bond makes you more than human, Dax." Neil's voice trembled. "More than human? I'm just a boy. I can't fight them." Her glow dimmed again. "You already are." The hunters regrouped, their weapons humming brighter. One shouted, "You cannot escape. The human will break. Surrender now." Daniel swallowed hard. He was shaking, his body barely holding together under the strange power. He wanted to run, but then he saw Lyra's face, tired, desperate, but trusting him completely. He realized something. She wasn't the only one who needed saving. He needed her too. Daniel straightened, fists clenched. "No, I won't let you take her." The hunters raised their weapons again. Lyra's voice whispered in his mind, soft but unshakable. "Then stand, Daniel. Stand with me." Energy flared around them, brighter than before. Daniel felt it surge through him, wild but alive. His fear remained, but something new had awakened in him. Courage born from the bond. The forest filled with light as human and alien prepared to face the hunters together. And for the first time, Daniel felt not like a boy, but like someone who had a purpose. The forest erupted with noise. Energy blasts ripped through the air, striking trees and shattering bark into burning fragments. Daniel ducked instinctively, pulling Lyra with him as the hunters advanced. "Run!" Lyra's voice echoed in his head, urgent and sharp. Daniel didn't need to be told twice. His legs carried him forward, faster than he thought possible. Branches whipped against his face, roots clawed at his shoes, but he didn't stumble. Something inside him, something from the bond, made him quicker, stronger, sharper. Behind them, the hunters gave chase. Their heavy steps shook the ground, their strange weapons slicing through the night with glowing trails. The air burned with the sound of pursuit. Daniel's chest heaved, but he kept moving. "They're faster than us," he shouted, though he didn't use his mouth alone. Lyra heard him in her mind as well. "Not faster," Lyra answered inside him, "but stronger. We must use the forest, keep running. Trust me." She guided him, pulling his hand suddenly left, then right, weaving between trees. The hunter's blasts missed narrowly, striking the trunks where Daniel had stood just moments before. Sparks and fire lit up the darkness. "Where are we even going?" Daniel gasped. Lyra's glow flickered faintly in the dark. "Away from open ground. We need cover. We need time." Another blast ripped through the trees behind them. Daniel flinched as the heat grazed his back. His legs burned, his lungs screamed, but still he ran. Somehow he wasn't falling behind. The bond carried him forward, his body responding with more strength than it should have. He realized something terrifying and incredible. He wasn't just running as Daniel anymore. He was running as Daniel and Lyra, two lives moving as one. But the hunters weren't giving up. They shouted in their strange language, spreading apart, cutting through the forest in a pattern. Daniel felt the pressure closing in on them. Lyra's voice trembled. "They are trying to corner us. We must break through before it is too late." Daniel clenched his teeth. "And how do we do that?" "Together," she whispered. Before he could question, she yanked him toward a narrow gap between two massive trees. Daniel squeezed through, branches tearing at his clothes, and stumbled onto a slope. His foot slipped, and he fell, sliding down the hill with Lyra tumbling beside him. They hit the ground hard. Pain shot through Daniel's shoulder, but he forced himself up. Above, red visors glowed as the hunters closed in. "We can't outrun them forever," Daniel shouted. Lyra's glow dimmed, her face pale. "Then we don't run. We strike." Daniel blinked at her. "Strike? Are you insane? They have weapons. I don't even know what I'm doing." Her eyes locked onto his, steady despite the fear. "You don't need to know. You only need to feel. Trust the bond, Daniel. Trust Baho. It's me." Before he could argue, another blast tore through the ground beside them, showering dirt and sparks. Daniel threw up his hands instinctively, and the shield appeared again, shimmering brighter than before. The energy ricocheted, slamming back toward the hunters. One staggered, armor sparking where the rebound struck. Daniel's eyes widened. I reflected it." Lyra nodded quickly. "Yes, your instincts are waking. Use them. Keep moving, but fight when you can." They scrambled back to their feet, racing deeper into the forest. This time Daniel wasn't just running, he was weaving, blocking, striking back when blasts came too close. Each time he acted, the bond responded, flowing stronger. But each time also drained him. His arms shook, his legs burned, his vision blurred at the edges. The power wasn't endless. Lyra felt it too. Her glow weakened, flickering like a candle in the wind. "Hold on," she urged. "We are almost free of their circle." The hunters shouted again, angry now, firing more wildly. The forest lit with burning light, shadows stretching in every direction. Daniel ducked, rolled, raised another shield. Sparks exploded around him, his chest ached, but he kept going. Finally, Lyra pulled him sharply to the right. They burst into a narrow ravine, walls of rock rising on either side. The hunter's steps grew fainter, confused, echoing above. Daniel collapsed against the stone, gasping for breath. His whole body trembled, sweat dripping down his face. I can't keep this up." Lyra knelt beside him, her glow faint but steady. She placed a hand on his chest. The warmth of it sank into him, calming his shaking muscles. "You are stronger than you believe," she said softly, her voice echoing both in his ears and his mind. "But we cannot fight them all tonight. We must find shelter." Daniel closed his eyes, trying to slow his breathing. "And Aro? What then? They won't stop, will they?" Lyra's silence was answer enough. He looked at her, really looked at her, this strange, glowing girl who had pulled him into a world of danger he hadn't asked for. But she had also given him something else: purpose, connection. For the first time in his life, Daniel wasn't truly alone. Lyra's eyes met his, shining even through her exhaustion. "I'm sorry, Daniel. You didn't choose danger. You chose me." And with me comes everything. Daniel managed a weak smile. Then I guess we'll keep running. Together. Above them, faint red lights searched the forest. The hunters hadn't given up. They never would. The chase wasn't over. It had only just begun. The ravine was silent except for Daniel's heavy breathing. His back pressed against the cold stone wall, sweat dripping down his face. Lyra sat close beside him, her glow faint, her body trembling from exhaustion. For a moment, it felt like they had escaped. But then, voices. Metallic, sharp, echoing through the trees above. The hunters were closing in again, their red visors scanning the darkness. Their weapons hummed with deadly power. Daniel's stomach sank. They never stop. Lyra's voice filled his mind, quiet but certain. We cannot run forever. They will corner us here. Daniel, we must stand. He turned to her, eyes wide. Stand? Against them? Look at me, Lyra. I'm no soldier. I barely understand this power. She reached out, her glowing fingers brushing his arm. Her touch sent warmth through his veins. You don't need to understand it. You need to feel it. The bond will guide you if you trust it, and I will guide you too. Daniel shook his head, fear twisting his chest. If I mess up, we die. Lyra's eyes softened. If we don't try, we die anyway. Silence stretched. Daniel's heart thundered. Above, the hunters' voices grew closer, their heavy boots thudding against rock. Something inside him shifted. He was tired of running, tired of fear. He thought about the quiet life he used to live, nights staring at the stars, wishing fee or something real. Now it was here. And if he didn't fight for it, he would lose it. He clenched his fists. All right, we stand. Lyra's lips curved into the smallest smile. Together. The first hunter dropped into the ravine, armor clanging against stone. Red visor glowing, weapon raised. Another followed, then a third, their shadows stretching long across the walls. Daniel felt his legs shake. His instinct screamed to run again, but Lyra's hand on his shoulder steadied him. Her voice echoed through his mind. Breathe. Let the bond move through you. Trust it. The lead hunter pointed his weapon. Human, step aside. That one does not belong to you. Daniel's fear burned into anger. He stepped in front of Lyra, raising his hands. She's not yours either. The hunter fired. The blast screamed through the air, bright blue. Daniel thrust out his hands. The shield burst into life, brighter and stronger than before. The energy hit, sparks flying, but this time Daniel held firm. The ground shook, but he didn't fall. Lyra's voice surged in his mind. Good. Now push back. Daniel gritted his teeth, pressing forward. Heat rushed from his chest into his arms, and with a cry, he shoved outward. The shield exploded with force, a shockwave blasting the hunter backward into the ravine wall. The alien crashed hard, sparks flashing from his armor. The other two froze, surprised. Daniel stared at his own glowing hands, his chest heaving. I did that. Lyra's glow brightened slightly. Yes, and you will do more. The second hunter leapt forward, swinging his staff. Daniel blocked again, but this time he felt something different, strength pouring into his muscles. He grabbed the staff, twisting with unnatural force. The weapon cracked, shattering into pieces. Before he could think, Daniel spun and shoved his hand forward. Another blast of energy erupted, slamming the Hun. Tur to the ground. The third raised his weapon, firing rapidly. Bolts of blue light tore through the air. Daniel dodged left, right, faster than he ever could before. His body moved as if Lyra's instincts guided his every step. One bolt grazed his arm, searing pain ripping through him. He cried out, stumbling. The hunter advanced for the kill. But Lyra's voice cut through his pain. Focus, Daniel. Pain is real, but so is strength. Stand. Daniel forced his body up, raising both hands. The air shimmered, and twin arcs of energy burst outward, crossing like blades. They struck the hunter's chest, sparks flying, forcing him to his knees. For a moment, the ravine fell silent except for Daniel's heavy breaths. The first hunter staggered back to his feet, armor cracked. He growled something in his language, then raised a glowing beacon into the sky. A signal, a call for more. Lyra's face paled. More are coming. We cannot fight them all tonight. Daniel looked around, his body aching, his mind screaming. But something inside him, something new, burned stronger than his fear. He wasn't just surviving anymore. He was fighting, and he had won, at least for now. He stepped closer to Lyra, his voice rough but steady. Then we make our stand somewhere else. But if they come again, I won't run. Lyra's eyes met his, glowing softly with pride. You are learning fast, Daniel. Too fast for a human. The bond, it is changing you. Daniel swallowed hard. He didn't know if that was good or terrifying, but he knew one thing for certain. The hunters would return, and next time the stand would be bigger, harder, deadlier. As the night wind swept through the ravine, Daniel looked at Lyra and whispered, "Whatever happens, we face it together." She nodded. Together. The shadows around them deepened, and above, more red lights flickered between the trees. The fight wasn't over. It was only beginning. The night was heavy with silence after the fight. Smoke drifted through the ravine where broken armor and scorched stone marked the battle. Daniel leaned against the wall, chest heaving, arms trembling from exhaustion. His body ached everywhere, but he was still standing. Lyra sat beside him, her glow faint but steady. Her eyes studied him carefully, as if searching for something new inside him. Daniel laughed weakly, though it sounded more like a gasp. "I should be dead right now." Lyra tilted her head. "Yet you are not, because you said yes." Her words echoed in his mind, soft but heavy. Daniel looked down at his hands, still faintly glowing, still humming with power that wasn't his alone. The memory of the battle flashed through him, the shield, the shockwave, the strength that had poured from nowhere. It hadn't been human, it hadn't been him. Or maybe it had. He clenched his fists slowly, feeling the strange energy stir again, weaker now, but alive. This bond, it's real. Too real. Lyra lowered her gaze. "It is more than real. It has already begun to change you." Daniel's stomach tightened. "Change me? Into what?" She hesitated, as if afraid of her own answer. "Not fully human. Not fully like me. Something between. Something new." The words sent a chill through Daniel's body. A part of him wanted to deny it, to cling to the boy he had always been. But another part, the part that remembered the power, the connection, the way Lyra's thoughts had mingled with his, knew it was true. He sighed, leaning back against the stone. "So my old life? It's gone, isn't it?" Lyra looked at him with quiet sadness. "If you mean the life where you were only human, yes, but another life has begun, one that is greater and far more dangerous." Above them, faint red lights flickered in the trees. The hunters were still out there, searching, regrouping. Daniel's chest tightened again. "They won't stop, will they?" Lyra shook her head slowly. "No, not until I am taken, or destroyed." Her words cut deep. Daniel stared at her, anger rising in his chest. "Then we'll fight. If they come, we'll fight again." Lyra gave him a small, tired smile. "You speak with courage, but courage is not enough. Power must grow, you must grow, or the bond will consume us both." Daniel frowned. "Consume us?" She nodded. "The bond is alive, Daniel. It feeds on connection, on trust. If we resist it, if we fight against each other, it will tear us apart." For a long moment, Daniel sat in silence. He felt her inside his mind, her fear, her hope, her weariness, and realized she could feel everything inside him too. There were no walls, no secrets. It was terrifying, but also strangely comforting. Finally, he said quietly, "Then we'll have to trust each other." Lyra's eyes softened. "Yes, trust is the only way." The night stretched on. The sounds of the hunters faded for now, but the danger remained. Daniel's body wanted sleep, yet his mind refused to rest. Too many questions burned inside him. He looked up at the stars. They felt closer than ever before, as if he could almost reach out and touch them. For years he had stared at them with longing, wishing for something more. Now the stars no longer felt like distant lights. They felt like doors he might one day walk through. Lyra followed his gaze. Her voice brushed his thoughts softly. "Those stars, they are my home. And one day, if we survive, you may see them not with your eyes, but with your own steps." Daniel's breath caught. The idea was terrifying but thrilling. "Out there, with you?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, but only if the bond lasts, only if we survive what is coming." For a moment, neither spoke. The night was quiet, except for the faint hum of energy still lingering in Daniel's veins. Then, far in the distance, a low sound rolled across the forest, deeper, heavier than before. Not the hunters, something else. Lyra's face paled. "They called reinforcements." Daniel tensed. "More hunters?" She shook her head slowly. "Not just hunters, something worse. They will not risk me escaping again. They will send their strongest. Daniel's heart pounded. He should have been terrified, and he was, but another feeling rose stronger. Determination. He looked at Lyra, his voice steady despite the fear. Then we'll be ready. Whatever they send, we'll face it. Together. Lyra studied him for a long moment. Her glow brightened slightly, as if his words gave her strength. Finally, she nodded. Yes. Together. The night wind swept through the ravine, carrying the promise of battles yet to come. Daniel didn't know what he was becoming, or what future the bond would bring. But he knew one thing. He wasn't alone anymore. And whatever awaited them in the darkness, power, danger, or doom, he would face it with her. As the stars burned above, Daniel whispered to himself, almost in awe, "My life will never be the same." And somewhere beyond the trees, the shadows moved. The true hunt had only just begun.